Okay, so we're on to step three, and just as a quick review, step one in the RPG key workflow is creating the file and folder hierarchy. Step two is creating a job-specific Lightroom catalog and importing images, at the same time renaming the files and backing up the originals on a secondary hard drive, as well as leaving the originals on the compact flash card, and rendering a standard preview. So now we're on to step three, and that is ranking and flagging our photos, deciding which images to show our customers. Now, there is no right or wrong way to do this. If you have 100 photographers in a room, there's probably 100 different opinions, and none of them are wrong. In fact, the two owners of Riley Photographic, Chris and Tim, we can't agree, and we do things a little different. So I'm going to show you two different approaches, but really the point of this video is to educate people how to use Lightroom and how to show their images based on ranking and flagging. So we're in the library module of Lightroom. Um, think of the library module as you're looking at the negatives just out of the negative bag. You can make them larger, but really this is the beauty of this library module is its speed. Um, it can do a lot of the things the develop module can do, but not quite as well, but it does a lot of things faster. So we use the library module when we're going through our images, deciding which ones to select. So the two to kind of break down the different approaches for selecting images to show customers, you can break it down into its kind of core roots of either picking photographs to show customers, and getting rid of everything else, or getting rid of everything that you don't want to show. So let me show you the two approaches. So um, I'm going to double click on a photograph to make it large, and I don't want to show that one, so I'm going to use the right arrow key to advance to the next image, and maybe I want to show this one. So I'm going to hit the P key, and the photograph, you'll notice, has a white flag now. You'll see there's a white flag right here. Okay. The Enter key in the library module will toggle you between views, and apparently someone's toast is done. So I put a P on this one. I'm going to go to this next photo and say, yeah, I want to show this to the customer, which is my wife who's sitting next to me, and I don't want to show that one, and I want to go to the next one and say no, and this one I want to show, and this one I want to show. So I'm going to hit the G key, which brings me back to the grid view. And so now I've gone through a handful of photos, and I've put the P for pick flag on a handful of images. Okay, so I want to, in this edit in mentality, anything that doesn't have a pick flag or a white flag, I want to not show the customer. So I'm going to go up to the library menu. I'm going to first say enable filters. I'm going to go back to and I'm going to say, see this right here? I'm going to hide everything that is not a white flag. So I've gone here and I've clicked this. Another way to do it is to go to your library menu, go down to filter by flag, and say hide anything with a flag status. Okay, only show the flagged photos, show the flagged photos and unflagged photos, so on and so forth. And you'll have to tinker with this. But I just select flagged only, and here I've now hidden anything without a picked flag status. So this is, theory number one. Find the best images and everything else goes to the wayside. So that's one approach. Now the opposite to picking or rejecting is unflagging, and that's the U key. So I'm going to hit, I've selected all and I've hit U, and so now I'm going to go turn my filters off. So here's the other approach, and this happens to be my favorite. In this approach, I'm going to turn my filter on at the onset. So I'm going to go up to the library menu. I'm going to say enable filters, and I'm going to say filter by flagged and unflagged photos. So what that does is that shows me anything that does not have a flag. So in my workflow and in Chris's workflow, we decide which photos are garbage. And we do this by using the X key, which is the shortcut for rejecting a photograph. Actually, we use our RPG key, but this isn't about RPG keys. This is about workflow. So I've got one hand on the right arrow, left and right arrow key, and I've got one hand on the X key. So this is not an image I want to show a customer, so I'm going to hit X. And what happens is, because I've already set my filters up, I'm automatically advanced to the next image. Again, not really one that that Ella's mom wants to see, So I'm going to hit X and it's gone. Okay, here's a great image. I'm going to certainly keep this. I'm going to move to my next image and I'm going to keep that one and I'm going to keep that one and I'm going to get rid of this one, 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 get rid of this one. Oh, that's adorable. I'll keep that and we'll go to the next one. Okay, so I am rejecting my images and um, as I go, and because I've set up my filters, which again was up here, enable filters, filter by flag, and I've selected this, every time I hit that X key, that photograph is, quote, rejected. It's not deleted, it's just hidden, and it's dropped out of sight. Um, so this is an edit out approach, okay? If you go and we turn off our filters right now, you're going to see a handful of photographs that are grayed out with a black flag. So these are images that I've elected to not show my customer. Now, I've met with photographers who like to delete photos, and I think this is a horrific idea. I never delete an image. You never know what somebody's going to ask for. You never know what litigious individual is going to accuse you of not providing. You know, we've never been sued, God forbid, but just we don't delete photos. A 1 terabyte hard drive today on the market is about a $90, and that can hold a hell of a lot of photos. So we don't encourage you deleting images. However, I know somebody who did. I taught Lightroom to somebody yesterday who does. We're going to go up here. We're going to say enable filters, filter by flags, show me just the rejected photos, and now they would select these images and hit the delete key. And even Lightroom says, do you really want to do this? Do you want to delete them from the disk or do you want to just remove them from Lightroom? In my case, neither. But that's certainly possible if that's your workflow. Totally out of the realm of our studio's workflow is this ranking of images, deciding 1 stars and 2 star and 3 star and 4 star images. And this is just done with the number keys 1 through 5 on your computer. So if this is a photo you don't want to show, you know, you might give it a 1, and if it's a blog photo, you might give it a 4, and if it's you know, an album photo, you might give it a 5. In the Riley photographic and RPG key way of thinking, this is less than important. We really just want to know, do we show the customer or don't we? And that's all that matters to us. But again, there's 100 different ways to do this. Pick a way that works for you. Something that a lot of people don't know is that Lightroom filters are, you can add them up. So you can say, you know, turn your filters on and you can say, just show me the photos with 4 stars or higher. Show me just the photos that have, you know, I don't know, a yellow or a red flag on them. You know, you can kind of add these filters up so that you're drilling into your data. But again, you can do this either in your menus or with the filter toolbar here at the top of the screen. Another thing to talk about is something that Chris and I teach, which is called a single pass workflow. This is something that I do that Chris does on occasion for certain types of jobs. But I teach this because I like to start on the first photo and of a job, and when I get to the last photo, I'm done. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to start here in the middle, and I'm going to set my filters up. And I'm going to say we're going to filter by reset this filter, and we're going to reset this filter, and we're going to say okay, enable filters, and we're going to say filter by flagged and unflagged photos. Okay, so we're going to start halfway through this job. What I do, which is a little bit unique and hard for a lot of people to swallow, is I do my filtering or my flagging, and I do my color correction at the same time. And you can do this in Library or Develop. And I'm going to make some adjustments to these images. Please don't think that these are the choices I would make to show a customer, but I'm just trying to do this for the demo. So I'm going to go to the Develop module, and I'm going to reject this image, and of course I'm going to automatically advance to the next image. And again, I'm rejecting. Okay, here's one that I want to show mom. So I'm going to make it black and white, and I'll add a little exposure, and I'm going to crop the image. Okay? And I'm going to go to the next image, and oh, I want to do the same thing. So I'm going to use this little previous button down here in the bottom corner. Again, this is a key on my RPG key that I normally use, but this isn't about RPG keys. And that's, again, I got really close, but I'm going to bring it down a little bit, and we're going to go to the next image, and I'm going to get rid of it, and I'm going to get rid of it. So what I'm doing is I'm color correcting, cropping, adjusting, and manipulating my images at the same time that I am culling or flagging my files, okay? Um, the reason that I advocate for this in my own workflow and for one of our employees is that when you get to the very end of a job, you're done. So when you get to this last image and you hit reject, you don't have to go back. As photographers are artists, okay? Understand that very few of our customers have the skill, the photographic eye, and the opportunity to compare our images side by side like you're seeing here. Um, it's our job to, in my opinion, in our opinion, to try to increase the revenue flow from every job. And one of the ways we have found to do this is to get our work in front of the customer while they're still excited. So dialing back the critical eye and dialing forward the productive, kind of progress, trying to get your stuff out to the world, out in front of the potential buyer as soon as possible has been remarkably advantageous for our studio. So Chris and I don't necessarily do it the same way every time, but I advocate for this single pass workflow, and I do that by color correcting and flagging my images at the same time using a reject filter. Okay, again, another long-winded video. The next video is going to be all about the different tools in the develop module of Lightroom and how just some hidden tricks in color correcting and retouching using Lightroom.